through the metal detectors of NCAT in Sydney CBD. What happens when there's a dispute between landlord and tenant? We're going to take you through a virtual walkthrough of NCAT. Stay tuned. Feel slightly awkward about this topic.
It is a little bit awkward. It's awkward to be there if you turn up to what is called NCAT, stands for New South Wales Civil Administrative Tribunal. And you get a letter in the post, or you get an email to say that someone's put a claim in. That's how it starts. It will outline.
It's not court.
No, you can't take a lawyer there. It's not going to the Downing Centre or your local court or anything like that. It is completely different.
So we've all done it as real estate agents, but we thought this would be a great thing to share with tenants that want to attend, or landlords that want to attend, and what you can expect virtually, physically when you get there. So when you get there, Big Smoke, Sydney CBD. What street is it?
It's number 66 Goulburn Street.
66 Goulburn Street. You get there, you look at the building placard, you look up the building like that, you then walk in, go to the lift, come out, and it's
The lift is interesting. It's done by letters. So you have to go to this little section where you will look to see on the paper whereabouts at NCAT you are, and then as opposed to being like level 9 or whatever, it's done on letters. So when you press it, it'll say H. The first time I ever saw it, I was like, where am I going? Lift H. And then it changes, and then everybody that goes to that level. So the letters all change. So that's the first step, getting into the main area. And it is a building shared by other businesses. It's not just an NCAT building. So you'll often see, people in suits and, accounting firms. It's a very big building. There's 2 levels, I believe, that are allocated just for NCAT, or even 3, but it's shared with other businesses as well.
so it will say, like, on that piece of paper, Novak versus Whittier or something like that on that piece of paper. You get up there. When you get in, is it still old and crusty?
No, not like the old place. The old
No?
place that used to be on Castlereagh Street. No, this is very nice. The lobby, as you walk in, is quite, just like any office building that you'd imagine. You walk in, there is no, when you come out of the lifts, it just guides you straight to the detector, pretty much, as you said. But yes,
The metal detector's still there?
the metal detector's still there. There is security staff at the main reception. No one friendly looking is in that reception area. They've got batons and sprays and security written. There's no little old lady waiting there going, what room are you in, darling? It's just full on. And then there's a big screen with all the hearing rooms numbered, and then the allocation of the names. So whoever's taking you, you will look for your name to see what room you're in. But it is also on your paper. So some people like to double check, make sure the other person's here. You don't know if the other person's there. So when you go through the reception detector, you don't know if you're the only one turning up for the case, or if the tenant or the owner, vice versa, or the agent's going to be there. Once you go through the detector, there is a main lobby lounge area. They're all navy blue lounges, and everyone just sits however they want and whispers usually to see if the other person's there or not.
Is everyone eyeballing everyone?
Pretty much. It's very awkward. That blue lounge is very awkward. As an agent, it's not awkward for me after doing this so many times, but you still have that anticipation. I wonder if the tenant's going to turn up. I wonder if it's just going to be me. If it's just you, you will get what you want usually. If both parties are there, you need to negotiate and go through the process, which is why that lobby area is so, awkward.
So do so then you all go into the like courtroom style room together?
Yes. So then when your time for the hearing is at that time, then you all shuffle in towards the room, either 19.2, 19.3, 19.4. And then there's other cases and other people in there as well. There's a series of chairs that you sit on, and then you wait for the member to turn up. Now, she does have like a pulpit area where the member will sit away from you. And then there's two desks in front of the member. You could call them witness stands. There are microphones. It is recorded. And it is, a very quiet room, quiet process. The member comes out,
So
her name.
she won't bring in one case. There won't be one case sitting in the room. There'll be 10 cases sitting in the room, maybe.
Correct. So you aren't alone. There are other cases in the room, and you don't know what order she's going to read everyone. Usually, the member will call out parties. They will say which parties are both here. That's a way of pretty much saying, great,
And
this is going to be a negotiation. We're not doing all of it today. She just wanted to say who are together, and that's going to take time. And the people that the other person hasn't turned up, she can very easily type up all those orders quite quickly for what that person wants.
and it's so when you get into Fight Club, all 10 people are in there. Is there a security guard?
Not usually. Sometimes there have been security guards that will come in after usually the negotiation point, which I'll get to after the member calls your name. But yes, there have been times where there's security guards standing there, which would then typically feel more like an actual courtroom, like you see on, TV if you haven't ever been
Judge
to court.
Judy.
Yeah, SUV. But also being in the room, you get to hear other cases as well, which is very interesting. I highly recommend if you're PM in the making and you want to learn and all aspects of legislation and how it works, turn up to NCAT for a day. No one's going to say you can't be there, and go and listen to all the cases. It's very interesting.
Yeah, like I guess it's good television. If you've got nothing to do and you work in the city, whatever job you do, just take your lunch and go sit in the tribunal and cat room just for entertainment.
It can be entertaining, not if it's your sore point, but for other people, definitely. We had a case that me and my sister had gone to recently, and the lady was very upset with the agent, but she kept saying she was a surgeon, she was a doctor, which hat off to you, fantastic. But everyone got to the point that they were looking around in the waiting room like she said it every time she said anything. And being a surgeon and being a surgeon, and this one lady behind her goes, "We get it, you're a surgeon." It was so funny. Anyway, that's the
Yeah,
room.
yeah, and I think sometimes the tribunal member, looks at stuff favorably and not favorably with stuff like that. But anyway, so they call your case, and you go right. Okay, it's the people that we're representing. The two people that we're representing are here, both sides. So then they get taken off to a room out. So they get taken out of that courtroom style environment. Yeah.
Yes, but if you haven't been to NCAT before, they don't usher you anywhere. The member just tells you that we highly recommend you go and negotiate. And then tenants are often wandering around like, where am I going? Where am I walking to? We, as the agent, will always say, well, these are the reconciliation rooms. You go past the awkward room of the blue lounges, and then you go into another corridor, and they're all little glass rooms, all glass, so obviously security can see what's happening in there. And then it's like the round table the Knights of the Round Table, huge round tables, and then just chairs around the round
But
table.
they can't grab each other from opposite.
I was thinking, why are they round? No sharp edges. It's just all round in there. And then you sit, and we can often lead the charge and explain to the tenant what's going to happen. Sometimes it's awkward and you just sit and wait, and then a reconciliation member will come in and
So
they'll
in that
say,
in that room, there's no one. There's no attendant from the NCAT. It's just you and the tenant, or the landlord and the tenant, and
yeah,
then you just mash up the topic with each other.
yeah, someone will break the ice. Look, usually it'll be the agent.
She's gone missing. So guys, I'll continue. Oh, hang on. Let's add her back. Where'd you go?
I was in NCAT. I'm back to
That
describing
was
because doing
magic.
it. Yeah, no, there's no one there in the reconciliation room for a little while. You mash up the topic like you just said, and then a lady or a man will come in and try to mediate the orders, basically try to get you to come to an agreement, and then you would go back to the room with your paper agreement signed by both parties, and the NCAT member types that all up. They're court orders that she's typing up. If you cannot come to a resolution, usually you're asked to do negotiation first. If you can't negotiate, then you go back and you say, we can't negotiate. And now it's up to the member to hear your case now. She'll hear a little bit, or they'll hear a bit of the case, but usually they'll tell you, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to exchange documents. You're going to go back home. We're going to come back to you in 2 weeks on another hearing date. And then you've got to go back to the CBD, back to
Now that
Goldman's.
person, that person that rocks in and out of that room, what
Yes.
qualifications do they have? Are they like the cleaner? Are they like a jar? Are they like a qualified lawyer? What are they doing?
Yeah, look, they are qualified. They're probably members in the making, a lot of them. They do know legislation. There are tenant advocacy members that are there to support tenants. They have all the NCAT services at their disposal. Some tenants, you know, can become homeless. They give them all the tools and places that they need to help people. So there are a lot of qualified people, like little lawyers even. They're not, but they're not. But probably maybe in law school, and they start off there at NCAT as being, a mediator at NCAT. So yeah, no, they're not just someone sitting out the back, that's just come in like a referee. Although it is that type of style, they're there to referee, hear the person out. They'll tell a tenant if they're unrealistic in their
Yes.
approach,
Yes, I love
you
that.
know.
They'll slap a tenant around, or they'll slap a landlord around, if they on the direction they feel the case will go, and then often that has a little bit of carriage, a little bit of weight. So you'll see the landlord have a think about what they say, or you'll see the tenant have a think about what they'll say, and they'll possibly change their path that they're taking, with that. So if there's an agreement, as in everyone goes, okay, let's just do this, that'll be put in writing there and then.
Yeah, you got a red piece of paper and a blue piece of paper. It's like red pill, blue pill. And then they'll get the order paper and they'll write, you, the tenant, agree
That's blue.
to move. Yeah, blue to move out on this date by this time and pay the landlord this money in arrears. And the agent signs on behalf of the landlord, the tenant signs, and then you kind of go, now what? Now you're back in the room. The conciliator goes up to the judge, the member, gives them the piece of paper, and then you sit and wait. If you're lucky, you'll get your orders typed up there and there. If you're not lucky, you will sit and you'll wait to hear everybody else that's been fighting or being heard at the time, and then you will get your orders typed up. You sit back in the chairs and they say, you, the tenant, do you agree? They say, yes, yes, we agree too. And then she gets to typing. And then she just says, Great, we'll send the orders to you via email, and then you just get up and walk out together.
If you call the judge a judge, or if you call the judge your honor, you'll get slapped.
No, that doesn't happen. Some might correct you, it's just member. But tenants
It's
do think they
member.
can
You
bring
can't,
up,
because
yeah.
if you say the people have been watching Law and Order too much, and they say your honor, but it's you don't you address them as member.
Yeah, you do. And look, if you really want to be bold, sometimes I have been known to interrupt and say, hi, we've come to an agreement, like totally interrupt, knowing full well there's other people, but, time's of the essence. And sometimes the member will like, yeah, fine, come on up, and then type it up. In my early days of real estate, I went to NCAT when I was pregnant with my first son, and I was quite far along, and I hadn't eaten. Like, I had breakfast like at 9, and I still hadn't been heard at like 12. I was starving, and my stomach was like rumbling. And I just said to the conciliator, I said, look, I'm struggling here. Can you bump up my case so I can get heard and my orders typed up? And it was so embarrassing. He goes up to the member, and he didn't just like whisper it, he said it loudly in the room. We have a pregnant lady in the back here who needs to be seen. I was just like, I didn't care at that
Did it
point. I was
work?
like, yep. Yeah, it worked. I got seen straight
Oh,
away.
bless them. So overall, the environment. So sorry, are we there yet?
We are there. We're in the room. We're done. We're getting everything typed up, and then we leave. And then you go past the metal detectors again. And then the second awkward phase is the lift's going back down. You have to share with the tenant. So if it went well, that's usually where you shake hands. You say no hard feelings. I've seen these kinds of, reconciliations in the lift area. It's quite sweet. And then there's the ones where everyone still hates each other, and you wait for the next one and you don't make eye contact. The tenant goes down first, or you go down first, and then you wait for the next lift.
That's that's warm and dandy, but we don't want to hear the good stories. We want to hear the bad ones. Before we go, is it ever like you wait for the lift and so they get the lift by themselves, or there's like a fisticuff, or there's security called in, or there's like I'm coming for you.
Yeah. Look, usually there have been threats in that area. I guess that's why the security guards are there. I haven't personally experienced any, physical altercation towards myself or anything, but I feel that physical kind of, environments in those reconciliation rooms where they're fighting for their case. And that's where it gets really noisy. People might stand up at the table and bang their hands down, and you can hear that through the rooms. And that's when the security get involved. Whereas I think that main foyer, like, they know they're on camera, like right there, like it's very bright before you go into the lifts as well. I don't know whether that plays a role, but no, it's usually in the rooms that people feel comfortable to unleash, and that's where it can get a bit tropical.
Tropical. I
Yeah.
love that. Cyclone Charlie.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's tribunal, guys and girls. That's what you can expect when you're in a tribunal. At the end, you're going to get something written up in your favor, out of your favor. There's never a clear win. It's always like some sort of like, consideration for both parties. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a give and give. You've got to give a little. The landlord has to give a little, the tenant has to give a little. It's usually monetary. Um, you want $500, you can come up to 380 and call it a day. No one else wants to go back there. It costs you time. If you're getting the bus into town, you're paying for parking, you're taking time off work, you've still got to go back. You've got to take all those considerations into all those things into consideration. So if you have a little bit of a buffer, I like to negotiate that with my owner or my client before I turn up, so I know what's in my chest, and then I can negotiate to the full potential that I can. Um, Having said
And
that, not every case is clean cut, and you will have to go back.
and no weapons allowed.
No, you can't take your weapons.
All
But
right. Well,
yeah, no.
hopefully this is a little A to Z on what to do when you get to the tribunal for people out there, and it helps people out there. Absolute expert property manager Cleo Wish here. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. And happy birthday, Mark, for yesterday again.
Thanks, Edge. 49.
See
Woo!
ya.
Take
Bye.
care. Thank you.